But what ended up happening was I was helping a friend move, and that just got really, really, really busy. And so, yeah, it's like late, but I said I was gonna go live tonight, so that's what I'm gonna do. I've been learning a lot about just kind of chilling out and waiting for God's timing, right? Because God's timing is perfect, and we don't have to stress about anything. I think one of the big takeaways I got from today is like if you feel like the Holy Spirit's asking you to do something, then there's still time to do it, and how we kind of have to trust the process. I watched The Chosen with one of my friends, and it was the episode with Jarius and Jerry's daughter, and you have Jarius who's like running. He's like, "Come on, Jesus, we gotta move, we gotta go. You know, my daughter, she's gonna die soon if we don't go." And then what ends up happening is they get Jarius's daughter has already died, and Jarius is distraught. Wife is like, "What were you doing?" And Jerry said just try to do the best of what he could do. And then Jesus says she's not sleeping, or she's not dead, she's sleeping. And then you have this super fantastic verse in Mark 5:36, and just kind of says, as soon as Jesus heard the word that spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. So I think that's really important, especially going into the new year. Is yes, it's a new year of new opportunities. There might be some really exciting things that happen. Even with that being the case, you still have to chill out and let do his thing. So, you know, for me, I'm showing up and doing this today. There may not be one other person that jumps on this, and I'm mostly doing this for myself today. And that's okay. I was planning on doing this earlier and it just didn't work out timing wise. But I think of how here I am living here in this apartment, and it's definitely a gift, and it's not perfect. It's a step up, it's an upgrade, and I'm grateful for it. And I feel like the Lord definitely brought me to this place for a purpose, for a reason. And so I'm grateful for that happening. And I tried a couple of other apartments. I was trying to move into this other place that was more expensive, but it would have been worth, I thought it would have been great. And then I had one phone with the guy, and then we had another phone call, and he's like, "Hey man, let me get back to you." And literally, like, he didn't call me again. So I've had those times where somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I'll call you back," and you literally never hear from them ever again. And that's always interesting because I mean, I think a part of that is human error, but for me, I sometimes I just have to be like, "All right, God, you have to be in this," because I don't know. There's no logical explanation for what happened, and that happened with a couple different places. And I felt that I needed to look for apartments, and so that's what I did. Because at the time I was living at my aunt's house and slept on some friends' floors, because I moved here to Utah with a duffel and a backpack and just like faith. Those three things: duffel, backpack, and faith. That's really all I had. And, it just kind of has come together. It's worked out. Now I have this place to live. And it was when I just kind of surrendered it. I just was like, hey, this is what I did. And I'm just kind of letting you do this. If you want me to stay in Utah, then you can do your thing. And I'm not trying to make this like trying to force this to happen. I just want to do what you want me to do, and I'm just gonna listen, and I'm not gonna stress about it, and I'm just gonna let go. Akshay said how to make a better life out of this moment. Well, that's good. Well, I think something you can do, Akshay, is you can write down some of the blessings and things that you've gained that like you didn't have a couple years ago. That might give you some perspective. And the way I see it is just that everything that we're going through right now is preparing us for what's ahead. And so we need to be continuously appreciating and cherishing all those little things, because what those little things are doing, giving us a glimpse of what's possible, which is anything. And so this is what we need to remember, that God can do anything with any situation. He can give us beauty for ashes. He can make amazing things happen, right? Remember this one time when I was back in North Carolina, and it's crazy because this was my reality a couple months ago. I was living with my family in North Carolina. I remember went to go see this wonderful. There's this family of there's these wonderful black ladies that just kind of adopted me, and they'd make food and stuff like that. And I remember this one time I went over there and they just were like, hey, yeah, we have all this chicken, and so it'll be ready, but just kind of hang. And I remember when this lady opened up the grill, and there was just all of this chicken with like so many spices and all these things, and it was like, okay, chilling, it's fine, it's all right. So you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for table scraps. You don't have to anything like that. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be patient and to wait and just trust the process. I mean, there's a lot of people that are my age. I've met some of them who got married really early, and maybe it was great at first, but it got crazy, it got busy, it got hard, it got all those different things, and then they got divorced after less than a year of marriage, and that's rough. That's rough. So I really don't think that it's necessary a lot of the time. I think there's lessons that we can learn without going through them ourselves, and that's part of it's why we have scriptures, we have these different things. So actually, I don't know if that was helpful, and if you're still here, I'm learning alongside you. So I'll share a Proverbs 4 as well. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all thy getting, get understanding. So wisdom, I heard it said by Alex Hormozy. He's a business guy. You've probably have heard of him, maybe not. He's got some good stuff. He's not a Christian, I don't think, but he has some principles and things that he follows that are very something very Christianity like. And yeah, he was talking about how wisdom, being wise, generally thinks of like thinking farther out. So it's a good question. And there was a talk that I listened to from a general conference. I'm a member of Dallin H. Oaks, who I'm named after, and he gave a talk called Where Will This Lead? So that's a great question. You can ask yourself, where will this lead? Where will this friendship lead? Where will this moment lead? Where will this opportunity lead? Where will this choice lead? And you don't really know, but a lot of times you can fill in the blanks. Like if it's something that has been and you've fallen into it before, you can probably guess that it's probably going to lead to a very similar place, because that's where maybe your brain wants the dopamine from that. I mean, a lot of sin comes down to getting things in a way that is not like in line with God. But we know that our desires and all those things can be met with God's help. Jesus is a perfect example of the course. In Matthew 4, it talks about how he just said no when he was tempted, and the adversary said, yeah, turn these bread. And I think I talked about this yesterday too. But Jesus is like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And he was able to say no to the hunger and yes to deeper things that he wanted to happen. So yeah, it's an important thing. And I feel really strongly there's going to be a lot of blessings that happen in my life, but I have to keep more consistent. Like the things that I really want to be consistent with, I need to be more consistent with those things. I write a weekly newsletter. It's called Yield Deeply. You can check that out by looking in the description. So writing that's important to me. Getting other writers and people that are within the community to help me with writing it is important to me. And I just can't force any of this stuff. I just have this stuff happen. So when I was in North Carolina, I was adding a lot of people to my email list because it was something I wanted to do and felt like it was what I needed to do. So it was like in alignment, And there was times where I would add somebody to the list, or I'd ask somebody to add to the list, and I was like, they're probably going to say no because they're not a Christian or whatever reason. And they'd say yes. I have somebody that's on that list. as far as I know, they're not a Christian or anything like that, but they just like the vibe, like the feels from it. They just it helps them in some way. And so that's cool. Who am I to say no? Who am I to say no to that blessing? Who am I to say, oh yeah, God, you're not gonna bless me that way. You're not gonna help me in that way or something. I have a poem that I wrote about this more, and it's like, don't, and I sometimes write poetry from like what I imagine God would say to me, in answer to some of these prayers and things. And one of them said, like, don't ask me to not plan greatness for your life. Don't ask me not plan greatness for your life, you know? So there's times where we take ourselves out of the picture and we run back to something that was not helpful, or we look back to the past, find fulfillment, which is obviously never going to work. And yet, God is still wanting to help us out. And a lot of these times it comes down to surrender. So I'll give you a quick example of surrender. Yesterday, I mean, like I said, I have ADHD. I ran a gaming YouTube channel when I was younger, like age 15 or so to age 18, 19, going on my mission and then coming back. And I tried to keep it going for a little bit. And it was something that God didn't want me to do for a super long period of time. And I'm still not quite sure exactly why, except he must have something bigger planned for me. And, so that was definitely a bit of a struggle. But, what I came to find out was that I needed to surrender that because I didn't know all these different things that were going to happen in my life. I just didn't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's faith a lot of the time. And so we're just grateful for the opportunity to do that thing, and then we move forward and we just continue to express good and just move by faith, because at the end of the day, God has a perfect knowledge of what we need and what's happened. And so, yeah, yesterday I was watching some video game videos and there was all these different videos, and like deep down in my soul, I was like, I want to record gaming content again, or I don't know what I was thinking, but there's like a longing, right? Like, oh, I kind of could do that again or whatever. Like, I wish I could grow the channel or whatever, kind of thing. But obviously I can't have two of these lives. You can't have the new and the old, you can't hold both. So I'm kind of in this denial feeling, and there's just a lot of things going through my head. And it was just kind of hard to pull myself away. And it was just all these different gaming videos and Pokemon videos. I was like, why did this person find what they wanted to do and they're still doing gaming videos? And it's like, it's great. Whereas with me, it's I did this, but then I had to let it go. Like that's hard. Why was my path like that? And it was not great thinking, obviously. And then this is last night, December 31st. And so there's also a part of me that was like, this is literally the last night of 2024. Why am I spending it wasting time on YouTube? Have I learned anything? And so I was thinking, and then I pulled myself away from it. And I had the thought, you know what? I'm just going to play some Super Mario 3D Land. And I thought I'd already beaten that game. And I ended up booting it up and found out that I still had like 5 worlds to beat of the special world, which are like harder levels, versions of the first levels in that game. And I was really humbled. I was like, wow, yeah, didn't do this. So played a little bit of that. Then I was really tired, sleep around 9:30 last night. And then I woke up today and it was 6:30. So I slept through the entire night, 9:30 p.m. to like 6:30 a.m., which is crazy because lately I haven't been doing a great job of sleeping through the night. But I slept through the whole night and it was fine. I rested in God's victory. So that's really what this comes down to. That's really what I wanted to hit on more. And that's something I really want to work on more this year. It's like, no matter how crazy things get, no matter how wonderful the opportunities get, like just being thankful and resting in God's victory and just being grateful that, this has happened. This has happened and there's learning going on. Right now I'm on a streak of doing these little streams of on here. And I did stream on Twitch back in the day a little bit. And so the way I look at it is all that was preparation for what I'm doing now. And who's to say, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with my life. I don't. For now, I'm just trying to enjoy and cherish this moment and be here for who I can be here for. And that's a beautiful thing. And I don't really know like the people that I can impact the most, the people that could use my testimony and stuff like that. Like I don't really know that. I have seen times where I've tried to like finagle myself into somebody's life and be like, yeah, can I come over? Can we jump on a phone call or something? And it's like, it's not really there. So you just kind of, I've been learning more to, be still and let God move, and that like keep the space sacred and not worry about different space with different. So it's like when I didn't have a job last year, it's like, yes, I was trying to look for a job, but I also wasn't going to force myself into anything. And there's a different way you could do that. And then you can do that however you want it to. Same thing with the girl thing. Like that of my life has been vacant for a little while, but it's like, that's fine. Like I'm just going to let God heal the space and heal me, because healing the space is healing me. So as he heals the space, I'm healed. As he heals all these other things, then I'll be healed, and it's fine. It's coming together, and I'm learning and growing, and he's able to take care of it. Oh, walk in the light. Welcome. Good to see you. Where would you like to see yourself in a year? That's a good question. It's interesting because I want to have at least another book out for sure, and I'd like to have all in audiobook and paperback. I'd love to have at least done one signing, but I think the biggest thing is I want to be making money from speaking in the next year. That's one of my big goals for this year, is like to have spoken at schools and to really start moving that. If I could have a course out to help people write better and to use writing as a way to connect with God, that would be cool too. That would be sweet. Those are all be good income sources, and that would be awesome. Like I'm completely chill with whatever God wants me to do and whatever he has for me, because he is way bigger plans. Like I've had times where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get this job, we're just gonna make this happen, and then it doesn't work out and I'm frustrated. And then like down the road it makes more sense. So I'm kind of in that space right now. I'm having a lot of enjoyable moments, a lot, and I'm just grateful. What is my book on? Well, my first book, God is Trying to Talk to Me, was a book to help people to talk to God more authentically and vulnerably. So that was a poetry book. Had 25 poems of me talking to God and 25 what I felt like God was saying back to me. Then Patience in These Pages was my second book, and that was like a patience playbook of 64 poems total to help people be patient with the process, God, others, and themselves. My third book, I'm still kind of around with it. It may not be a poetry book, but yeah, getting all that figured out, more rolling with that, and just enjoying the process. It would also be nice if I was able to hire somebody to handle my podcast and newsletter and stuff like that, just like some kind of VA or an editor or something. That's something I've been looking for a while, but I haven't had the money to do so. I'm starting to make some money, but I'm also paying for rent now that I'm out of my parents' house. But yeah, it's gonna come together. I've articulated some of my goals for this year, but I need to make it more concrete and narrow it down. One of the other things, obviously, is not, I guess not obvious because I haven't said it yet, but I want to run a marathon this year. So I ran 3 half marathons last year, so I want to run a marathon this year for sure. One thing to help me do that is I'm running a time mile every day. Even if that time mile was slow as cheese, I don't really care. Today I ran to go help out a friend with a move, and they were about 4 miles away, which is kind of crazy to just run that, but I did. And I didn't run the entire way. There was a couple points where I walked a little bit, but during one of the miles I just timed it on my watch, and it was like 10 minutes, which was slow, but it was still a time mile, right? So tomorrow I'll do another time. I'll probably actually do that on a track and it'll be a lot faster. So if I could break 6 on my mile, but I could probably do that by my birthday in June. I don't know. It's humbling because we set these goals. The truth is that we might be able to reach those goals a lot quicker than we think if we just show up. We're patient. So I don't know. I don't know. All I know is we all need God, and I am learning a lot on the day to day. So I think that I have a lot to share that could be beneficial for people, and I definitely feel like I'm moving in a direction. Each day I'm learning, and I'm very blessed. This is a very blessed time of my life, extremely blessed time of my life. I couldn't do that enough. There's been very many blessings and things that I'm learning. So it's been super nice, super good. But again, it just comes down to the being still and watching God move and just trusting Him. It's not easy to do that, but from my perspective, it's been the best thing. You just kind of let Him take care of it. Also, with my website, so that's one of the big things. I need to make my website better. I met with a guy who does these big keynote speaking, as a giant podcast and all that other stuff. And he was telling me like one of the big things is I need to get my website in a better place than have a video that showcases me and in the vibe of me doing the thing. And yeah, I wrote down like everything he told me like on a piece of paper. And that piece of paper is like so valuable to me. And then I like left it at home. I couldn't find it, which is super frustrating. But that a lot of this just kind of comes back to just trusting that God is able to do His thing. He's able to do His thing. He's able to make this all work out. We don't have to worry or stress about what we aren't able to do now. God's able to stretch our capacity. He's able to make things happen. Also, shout out to my brother James. That's where I got this shirt. Peace, love, and ramen. Uh, he has some other clothing. Yeah, you could look it up. James Candland. Yeah, it's my name, my same last name, but his first name is James. And yeah, he's got some good stuff. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I had a friend. I went out with some friends, and they got me the hot chocolate. You know, I didn't pay for it. It's like a large hot chocolate. I didn't pay a cent of it. They were just glad I was there for the ride. They're missionaries that came over too. So it's like there's been a lot of wonderful blessings in my life recently, and a lot of them aren't very like not monetary, but it's what I need at the time. So and it's just coming down to trusting and giving what you're able to give at the time. So it'll come with time. We'll probably do this again tomorrow. Probably won't be this late. I just told myself I was gonna do it today, and so we're making it happen. But yeah, I'll just kind of put a bow on this. I know that if we'll be patient and trust God's movements and trust that He's working while we're sleeping and just do what we can, then we'll see a lot of wonderful things happen. Also know that we can look to Christ in every thought, and we can have our doubts and fears flee. We don't need to worry about things from the past or things that maybe we didn't get closure with or anything like that. The most important thing is that we're walking closer to Christ and that we're doing that path. And as we can do, then He will increase our capacity and life will become more and more sweet. Like it says in John 10 that Christ came that we might have life, that we might have it more abundantly. So He's able to do it. He's able to do it. Today is January 1st. It's January 1st. It's a brand new beginning. It's a brand new beginning. Like literally anything can happen. I'll say this real quick. As I was running, I saw this house that said 365 on it. And it really made me think, because it's like 365 days from now, you're going to be living in a different, like it's going to be you, assuming you're still here, and I hope you're still here. But like 365 days from now, you will be still in your physical body, and yet you will get to choose like what is different. How is it? What's it like? I have a poem in my book, Patience in These Pages, called The House of Me, and it talks about all these different experiences. Like, how do I treat this? How do I see this? And all this other stuff. So, yeah, you can find my books on Amazon. You just in Dallin, Candland, you'll find them. There's only 2 so far, but there will be more. And for now, just trusting in God's victory, trusting in God's vision, not worrying and stressing about things. There's always going to be an opposition in everything. So, I mean, last night I had a really good dream that just lifted my spirits. And I don't really remember a ton about it, just that I felt good. I felt peace, and I had some good thoughts when I woke up. I've also had some dreams that are really yikes and not great. So it's like there's an opposition. And so there will be things that happen that we don't have control over, and yet we get to choose how we will respond. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned in 2024, even if this is common sense. I was able to recognize more that end of the day, people can't, like, I can't afford to lean so much on other people and trust in the flesh. Like being like, okay, I really, really want this person to pick up the phone because I really want to talk to them because I've had talked to me through this person before or something, and then like get like hopes up and then just have it all go kaploop when nothing happens. Like at the end of the day, like I need to be solid myself, and like I will be okay. I've had those times where I've called 5 friends and none of them picked up. And so I was just like, all right, I guess we're talking, just talking to God. And I've had some long conversations with him, just walking down the street or whatever like that. And those are special times. End of the day, we don't know what's ahead. So I'm just grateful for this moment, grateful for the blessings that are going to happen tomorrow that I don't even know about yet. Grateful for just all the gifts. Oh, sorry. Walking the Light said, I was about to go to sleep and saw your live stream. I did. Yeah, man, it was late. But I'm glad you're here. It's a good time. It's a good time. It was a good moment. I mean, definitely was a vibe today. So I learned a lot. There was a lot I learned about patience, about service, about helping out people, about doing what Christ would do, and not forcing yourself out. I think times in my life where I've like the hurt in my soul is telling me to leave the situation, to leave the phone conversation, to cut something short or whatever. When the newer part of me, the healing part, the new heart or whatever you want to call it, and ask this question, keep listening, say a prayer with them or whatever. And so it's okay. There's that quote that says if you want something you never had, you have to be willing to do something you've never done. So it's Thomas Jefferson. And so it might be really difficult some things. I've never done 3 live streams in a row on YouTube. So if you look at the live stream, then it's like the last live stream I did was back in, like the first one I did was almost a year ago, months ago, and I just did it on a whim when I was in North Carolina and nothing really happened. But now it's just starting to get a thing. Like we got 4 likes. Haha, that's beautiful. Thank you. But yeah, it's neat. You know, I did some streams on Twitch, but those were a lot longer. Those were like 2 or 3 hours, and I was like playing a video game, and those were a lot less easy to like just jump into it. I've done some live streams on Instagram before, but I don't know. Doing it on YouTube's nice because it just feels like more like you're getting it into the library, into the archives quickly. Like I've uploaded stuff to Instagram, but then like there's just such a, it's like there are many. It's like who's gonna watch that again, you know? So I'm in this to build something that will last and make things better. I don't know that's one thing too. It's like with building a better life or building any of these things, you have to be okay with like completely overhauling it sometimes. So like last year I had the thought back where I had the prompting to try going full time and just no working for anybody else, just spreading my poetry, adding more people to my email list now is gutsy. And I added a lot of people to my email list, and it was fun. And now that email list, I had 14 subscribers in February. Now it has over 600 people. So like that's cool. Like you can do a lot more with 600 people than 14 people, especially since the 600 people on the list are all pretty high caliber, awesome spiritual people that I've met in my journeys and travels and friends and stuff like that. But I don't know what it'll look like next year if I'll be doing these YouTube live streams, uh, new opportunities, new friendships. I will tell you one thing. I'm pretty certain I will not be living here anymore. This place has been really great for me, but in a year, I don't think I will still be here. So, that's humbling. It's humbling. I'll look back at this in the future and I'll be like, oh man, that was such a beautiful day, such a vibe. Any day where you laugh, like you laugh and you get to talk about God, get to see some friends and stuff, like that's a good day. For me, any day I get to write poetry is a good day too, and I got to write some poetry today. It was good. Well, I think we've just kind of rambled a little bit, but thanks for hopping in here at the end of the day. I hope you have an awesome rest of your night. Yeah, so I know that Jesus lives, now he's aware of us, and if we'll trust him and be patient, then we'll see a lot of amazing things happen in our lives. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. So, good stuff. Thank you for hopping on. And Akshay, I hope that you're able to get a better life. Things get better. Things work out more. Yeah. So there's a lot of little changes I expect will compound in the future. You just kind of do them enough. Like a whole month of doing, like going to the gym or something like that may not change things, but like 5 or 6 months, like you start to really solidify like some serious new stuff. And you can't deny it either. So a lot of changes last year from just all the crazy things that I did, like reaching out to people at the gas station at like 2 or 3 a.m. That's literally stuff I did. I'm in North Carolina, just following all these promptings, talking to people. That helped me grow a lot, but the journey is still just beginning. So there's a lot of work ahead still to do. So yeah, good stuff. Cool. Well, I guess I will say a fast prayer just because I like praying. I don't know how to stand this. I mean, I guess I could just end it, but I'll say a fast prayer. Heavenly Father, I'm grateful for the technology that helps us to feel closer to you through the testimonies of others. I pray that will help walk in the light with building his YouTube channel, with just helping him to have strength in his day-to-day life. Bless him with vision and clarity and peace. Pray for Akshay as well, that they'll help them with all the things that they're looking to do with this new year. Help us to really let thy love prevail in our lives and really let thy plan and vision prevail, and that we wouldn't let ourselves think small, that we would want to look back and to stress about things that we don't understand. Help us especially to cherish this moment. Help us to better grasp this moment, understand how precious and priceless and wonderful it is. Pray for those who are in very difficult financial and other circumstances. Please bless them with means and strength and help us to be able to be in a better place where we could help them out, and help us to get the rest that we need, to rest in the victories thy Son has won, and to be at peace, and to surrender all of our worries and cares to thee. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. So there we go. That was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. We just have to keep going. Thanks, brother. Eventually we'll have to do a team meeting online. Yeah, I agree. 100%, man. It'll be good. We can live stream it. Yeah, you can easily do the live together thing. So yeah, we'll have to do that. Like when you click go live, you can like go live together. So yeah, we'll have to do that. That'd be fun. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, that's a wrap. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I hope you had a good day. Talking to you is good seeing you. Did you have any like thoughts from today you wanted to share? Any good scriptures or anything like that come up? I'd be curious to hear. Yeah, did you have any thoughts from today? No, kind of putting you on the spot. Anything that kind of like lifted you up or was helpful? Yeah, give you a sec to think about it. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, my parents got me this book for my birthday, When God Winks, and it's just like such a beautiful book because it just has all these different experiences where God just shows up in this amazing, amazing way to help out his children. So I could share one of these stories real quick. What's a good one I could share? So there's God winks of hope and reassurance. Let's see. We'll just do this one real quick. Why not? So this one's called The Incredible Unbelievable Call. I'm just gonna read it. Uncertainty was pressing on Ken Golb. Self-pity enshrouded him. What do you want with me, Lord? He silently demanded as the family's two Silver Eagle motor coaches traveled along I-5 somewhere near Dayton, Ohio. Ken's two sons were driving, keeping in touch with a CB radio. The rest of the family members were snoozing, reading, or lost in their own reverie. Let's make a stop at that exit, radioed to the other. The Gobb family was a traveling ministry, covering 50,000 miles a year, taking their family entertainment act into churches, schools, and on the back roads of America. Ken was feeling tired, unsatisfied. Where am I, Lord? He wondered about his purpose. Couldn't we serve you better by staying put, making a lot more money to support ministries? Lost in thought, Ken was almost unaware that the family had decided to take a break, pulled up to a small town diner. You go ahead, he said to the others. I'm just going to stretch and take a walk. He crossed through a gas station, walking past an empty phone booth. Suddenly it began to ring. He stopped, looked around. It kept ringing. He started to step away. He paused again. What if it's for the gas station attendant? He thought, looking around for someone who might be the target of some unknown caller. Maybe it's an emergency. That consideration caused him to step into the booth. Hello. I have a person-to-person call from Mr. Ken Golb, said the operator. What? Said Ken, instinctively furrowing his brow and lurking around for the candid camera TV crew that surely must be lurking somewhere. With a fake telephone operator calling an empty phone booth, trying to trap him looking silly by asking for him. Calling Ken Golb, repeated the operator. You're crazy, he retorted, once again doing a 360-degree scan for the hidden cameras. Less patiently, the operator said, Is this Ken Golb? Yes. I have a person-to-person call for you, she had reiterated with the tone of a teacher scolding a child. I believe that's him. Another voice on the phone, a woman's voice. Now Ken was really curious. If this were a setup, it was a really good. Go ahead, said the operator dismissively. Mr. Golb, I saw you on a TV show, The 700 Club, said the woman with a quick nervousness. I'm Millie. I live in Harris, and I remembered your name and wrote it into a letter I was writing, a suicide note. I began to cry. Ken was puzzled. You don't know me, but I'm desperate. I remembered you, and a phone number came into my mind to call you. Thank you so much for taking my call. This was no joke, concluded Ken. How did you get this number? He asked, shaking his head. I don't know. It came into my mind while I was writing. Is this your office in California? Ma'am, my office is in Yakima, Washington, but that's not where I am. She sniffled. Where are you? Millie, you called me. I'm in a phone booth at a gas station in Dayton. What are you doing there? Answering the phone, he said with a chuckle, beginning to enjoy the experience. Can I talk with you? Yes, of course. For the next 10 minutes, they talked. Ken assured her that the Lord was watching for her, that her worries were only temporary, that turning to God was the only answer. In him, she would find peace, for after all, he had already led her to him. Saying goodbye, Ken took a seat on a wall by the gas station. For several moments, he contemplated the power of the God wink that he and Millie had just experienced. Was this a message of hope for her or a message of hope for me? He silently asked the Almighty. Across the asphalt driveway, he saw his wife and the others emerging from the diner. Hey, Barbie, shouted Giddy with delight. Hey, God knows where I am. So many times over the years, King Gob has revisited that personal life-changing God wink. I don't believe it, and it happened to me. He says, what are the astronomical odds that I would get that call from Millie? Time after time, he has reflected on how that experience not only stopped Millie from taking an irreversible step, but also how from that day on, all the uncertainty about his purpose in life was suddenly lifted from his shoulders. So I really like that last one. All the uncertainty about his purpose in life was suddenly lifted from his shoulders. Any moments or any experiences that like can help you remember that purpose that you feel like God's given you, those are good things to remember. Ken also recalls that a few months later, after they performed in Harrisburg, a smiling woman came up to him and said, "Hi, I'm Millie." Funny, she looked pretty much as he imagined she would. There were a few subsequent telephone and letter communications, and then Ken lost touch. She was no longer listed in the Harrisburg directory. She must have moved away. But who knows? Maybe she'll call again sometime. Handing out hope. Probably like you, I've saved certain notes from people through the years that gave me a lift. I have one from a boss at a big radio station in Boston where I had my first producing job. In a handwritten note, he said, "Nice going on Sunday's show." That's all. 5 words on a small piece of paper, but that note gave me the reassurance I was doing okay, that I was performing up to par, that he noticed and appreciated my work. It gave me hope, and hope was the fuel that propelled me forward to work even harder. You've no doubt received a complimentary compliment from someone that did the same for you, gave you a boost, lifted your spirits, and made you feel good. How about doing the same for someone today? Think about a lasting value your comment may have, particularly if years from now your hope still exists in someone's box memorabilia. So that was just one little God wink about hope and reassurance. Apparently, the lady got that guy's phone number to call where he was. That was a crazy experience, but I think it just helped me a lot to remember just that God can do anything. He can literally do anything. If he needed somebody to talk to me, like really needed me to talk to me, then he would be able to orchestrate things so they got phone number. It wouldn't be the first time. You just kind of have to trust God and not worry about things. Walking the Light said, I did get a sense today that people on the other side of the veil are really happy with us and excited to say we go. I'm talking about our great, great, great grandfathers. I believe you 100%. I've definitely had times where I felt like my grandpa was helping me out. He helped me out on my mission for sure. Yeah. He passed away in 2015. My grandma too. She passed away in 2018. Did get a sense. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, 2 Kings 6:16 says that they're more with us than they that with them. We know we're living in the last days before Christ comes back. So this is the last, like we're the elites, right? We're the people that were set apart, that were chosen for this last dispensation of time. We're the fourth quarter players. We're here at the very end of the games. Yeah, I love that, man. People on the other side are really happy and excited. So I appreciate you sharing that. My top 5 games, video games. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean this may not be definitive, but at least off the top of my head, um I really like Pokemon Emerald is a great one. Super Mario World is another super good one. And I like Paper Mario. Oh yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is my number one all the way. Yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is my number one. And then probably Super Mario World. And then I really like the original Smash Bros. I like all the Smash Bros, but yeah, those are all good. Yeah, I also really liked Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I got Pokemon Crystal when I was like 6 with Lime Game Boy Color, so that was a great game. Celeste is another really awesome game. Pretty awesome game. Plants vs. Zombies is awesome. Risk of Rain 2 is awesome. But I think just to narrow it down super quickly, I think it would be this again. This isn't definitive. It's just off the top of my head at 11:50 p.m. at night. I think definitely Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I really think that's number one, and then probably Super Mario World, and then then maybe be Mario Kart, like Mario Kart 7, and then it's definitely difficult. Uh, I like Tetris a lot. Yeah, but it's tough to come up with five. I know I can at least do three. Probably be Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Super Mario World, and then Mario Kart 7, maybe. I'd have to think more about it. That's a great question though. There's so many good games. I've been very blessed with that. Great games. I've not played. Those are great games. I've not played Pokemon Emerald Thousand Year Door. It's one of the best games of all time. Yeah, yeah. The first time I played Pokemon Thousand Year Door, I was a teenager, and there's definitely some points where I just felt that connection with God, which is interesting. But I definitely felt it, so it was cool. Pokemon Emerald is good. Yeah, there's a lot of good games out there. I'll have a more articulate response tomorrow whenever I do another live stream. And yeah, I may not have the definitive list, but I'll have a more of a better understanding. Yeah. There are many ways I could make a top five list. There's games put the most hours to in games that have made an impact on my life. Yeah. That's sweet. Yeah, as far as games to put the most hours into, I mean, Pokemon Emerald is like probably at the top, as well as Pokemon Crystal, and then Super Mario Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. I put a ton of time into. Yeah, I just recently bought it again off of Facebook Marketplace, so I've been jumping back into that. So that's been kind of fun playing a little bit of that. Go into the day. That's been good. Yeah, I'm unlocking everything again slowly but surely. It's interesting because it's like you can't play online anymore, so it's just like, yeah, it's a good game. It's a good vibe. There's a lot of memories with it, but yeah, yeah, man. I mean, if you have a quick game you'd like to share or something like that, go right ahead. Um, but that sounds good. It's been good. I can't believe I've been going for almost 50 minutes. That's crazy. But yeah, it's it's good. Like we're living in unprecedented times. There's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff that happens. So we have to be on our A game. Be on our A game all the time. Like I am looking to be going full time with my writing, speaking, and podcasting, and go full throttle with that. And that's gonna require me to be in my A game. So it's like it's not gonna just magically happen. Like I have to keep improving mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, just any of these things. And especially with my ADHD, I've learned I have to I'm gonna have to live my life different than other people. Like some of the stuff I do, like I've found what works well for me is I have this watch on my arm, and I'll like 15-minute timers to do stuff, and that's something that I do. And lately I've been playing a little bit of video games here and there just to kind of help me to have something to look for at the end of the day, as well as like working on other stuff. But it just takes, it's just gonna take time. It's not gonna happen immediately. You can't force any of this stuff. So, like, you'll have more growth from doing like a 30-minute workout like every other day than like a 10-hour workout once a month. You could do a 10-hour workout 1 month, and you could do that really consistently. Alex Hermosi actually talked about this on his podcast pretty recently. Like you could do like be super super consistent and like work out like once a week or once every 2 weeks or something. Do that super consistently, but you won't get anywhere. Like you have to be more consistent with that and have to make it more part of your identity. Like, you can't just be like a thing that just like you did once and then yeah, yeah. So that's how we gotta do it. So it's gonna come together though. We don't even know. Today was just the first day of 2020. It's so crazy. It's 2025. It makes you feel old. Like today, like I was like, oh my goodness, like that's crazy. Like 20. It's like 5 years since 2020. It's so crazy. It's wild too, because I remember when 2024 started, like what I was doing and everything else, and yeah, it's wild. It is so wild, but life goes on. Life doesn't stop. Time flies on wings of lightning. We cannot call it back. So, yep, you just keep going. That's really it. That's really it. Yeah. Oh, I need to get better juggling too. Like that's really important to me, because juggling helps me to calm down. Like no matter how I'm feeling at the time, if I just start juggling, like I'm able to focus. I'm able to just chill out. So that's another thing. If I could like, because I can juggle three pretty okay, but if I could juggle four or even five, I just feel like that'd be a lot of fun. So it's just like with juggling, like it's something you can't do like while being distracted. Like you can't scroll social media, you can't really do anything else. Like all I can really do is juggle. Like if I was trying to talk to, like I'm probably gonna drop one. So it's like you just got to keep going. Like after like 10 minutes of this, like my brain feels a lot clearer. So need to get into the habit of it. And these are all things that I just picked up along the way. So like this feels like a good year to like really put everything together. And today was a good first day of doing stuff. But anyway. Okay, we got the 5 games. These are my favorites of all time. Sort of my favorites of all time. They've impacted my life, I think, fondly of them. Final Fantasy IX, Bloodborne or Dark Souls, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I don't know, it's kind of arbitrary after that. I love most of the Mario games. Sonic and old school Castlevania 4 is amazing on the Super Nintendo. That's good. That is good. That is fantastic. I appreciate you sharing. Of those games, I've only played Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Besides, like I've played most Mario games and some Sonic games and stuff like that too. Ooh, I would probably put Sonic Generations on my list too. Maybe that'd be in the top 5. I don't know. I'll have to go to the drawing board and figure out. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. That was good stuff. So yeah, tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow, and it'll be today. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be the next day very soon. I'm excited. Not quite sure what's gonna happen. I just know I need to go to bed. Probably play a little bit of Mario 7 before I go to bed, just because it was something I said I would do. And a little bit of Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, because again, that's something I said I would do. And then I'll just like conk out. So anyway, it was fun chatting with you more, man. It was good times, and I appreciate you. And we'll talk again soon, man. Nice, man. Thanks for the chat. Probably in February we can do a live show. Let you go to bed. No worries, man. Sounds great. Sounds great. I'll look forward to it, dude. Yeah, we just gotta enjoy the single life, man. The days are numbered, so we just gotta enjoy it, cherish it, love it up, live it up, because one day we'll both look back at these days like, man, that was so crazy how short that was. So it all just worked out and came together. I mean, I shared this skirt. Yeah, we got eternity to be married. That's right. Just got it all figured out. Yeah. I shared this actually when the missionaries came. I can share it here too, because why not? Ecclesiastes 3, 1 and 11. To everything there's a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. So, and I also have Isaiah 64:8 here, which is talking about how we are the potter, or he's the potter, we are the clay, we're the workmanship of his hands. So it's like he makes everything beautiful in his time. And yeah, so it all comes together in time, like works out really well in time. So like we don't have anything to worry about. We're chilling in time. You give it time. So it'll be good. It's like if I keep on doing these live streams that you like a couple a month, I mean, it'll probably help out some people. I think it's overall a net positive because it helps me to be more sharp and want to be more helpful to people, which makes you want to be better. So, yeah, like it's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. So, well, we'll see where it leads. For now, I'm just grateful this moment, grateful for the things that God is doing and the many blessings. And I'm just trying to like just stay with him and just be like, all right, let's go on the adventure. Let's learn from all these things. And it's wild. I've had times where I like have like a scripture come to mind or something like that. And that's like going down a water slide or something to all these different new insights and stuff that the Lord is trying to take me to. But we have to take that first step because he's not going to force us to anything. So we just have to trust him, be ready for anything. I think that's one of the biggest things 2024 taught me is like, you have no idea. You have no idea who God might be trying to put in your life. And yeah, you just have to be ready to talk to anybody. You have to be ready to do anything. You have to be ready to share a scripture or whatever, like, because you just don't know. You just know what's going to happen. So, yeah. End of the day, you just express gratitude. And I look back at those days of me going to the gas station really at night and stuff like that in North Carolina, because I haven't done that like at all since being here in Utah. And I thought I would, but I just haven't. And so it just helps me to recognize more like those were such precious times, and also how real it was that I was prompted to go there and I was talking to people there and meeting people there that I needed to meet and all this other stuff. I got stories on stories on stories. I want to hit the hour mark because we're like basically there. So it's like we gotta hit that hour mark. So I know like God is so good and he knows what we most desire, and he knows how to like fill us up completely. Like I know there's been times where I felt like I was missing out or something like that. And no, it's like he works everything out, and it's like all gonna be so good. So it all works out end of the day. And we just have to enjoy these precious days right here and now. And the last thing I'll say is like it just, or the last thing I've said, the last thing like 50 times, it feels like, but it's just like when God says something, just letting him be right, like letting him just like accepting it. When he says, yeah, this is gonna work out, put this out, it'll be okay. Like not fighting that. If you try to fight God, I mean, you can wrestle with him, but yeah, he's very faithful, and he's perfectly faithful, and he has perfect track record. So for those who trust him, joy in the journey and the struggle, absolutely. It's crazy when he shows up in a crazy moment to like lift you up and just kind of be like, huh, yeah, I know you're hurting and I know you're in a painful moment. I'm gonna lift you up right now. So it's a humbling thing when he like reaches out to you through somebody else. I've had people call me out of the blue, stuff like that. So I've had people call me. I've had him have people call me like in the middle of like looking at things I was not supposed to. Like last year, it's beautiful to say that. Last year when I had some moments where I fell into pornography, I had a couple of times where he like had somebody call me, which was crazy. But the person was like calling me to see how I was doing and stuff, and I was like, oh shoot, like This is literally the Lord reaching out to me, like the woman who's taken in adultery, basically like very act. And it's like the Lord's like, it's you can't hide from him, and he knows everything we're going through, and it's like all gonna come together. So like right now I feel better than I have in a while, and you just have to keep trust the process. Like the last couple nights I've been sleeping super well, and I'm just like you just let him heal everything going on up here, let him heal everything going on in here, and just like let everything else go, because Satan's going to try to like make you look back at things. But it's like what I said in my prayer, it's like, why would you want to look back at anything that's already happened? Like the best is ahead. The best is ahead. We're just like all of this stuff we've gone through is preparation for much greater things. The Lord can expand our capacity, can expand our reach, he can put new blessings and opportunities. Like I'm actually able to make some money now, which is beautiful, which is wonderful. And I'm not in like an amazing place. Like I was planning to have made more money with my books and stuff, but I'm on the path. So the pain is part of the gain. It makes us stronger if we endure it well. There is to be learned in suffering. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I also heard this recently, like pain is like pain cannot be avoided, but suffering is optional. I thought that was interesting. But there's also all those verses like if we suffer with Christ, we'll rejoice with him. And Romans 8:18, I reckon the sufferings of the present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. So in any case, yes, it all works together for our good. It's like what the Lord told Joseph in Liberty Jail, like, my son, peace be unto thy soul, thy adversity, my affliction shall be but a small moment. And then if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high, thou shalt triumph over all thy foes. So yeah, I've seen that enough times. Like everything is gonna work together for our good and his glory. And yeah, all these things will give the experience and shall be for thy good. That's something my parents like did a good of teaching me. So yeah, it's kind of funny because there's two people watching, and then there's like a third person that hopped on. So that was like a beautiful thing. But yeah, I think we'll end this here. So it was awesome. It was awesome. We just kind of keep going, trust the process. And I think another thing I'll say too, super fast, is I did a little dance party today around like noon. Like, and that's usually when I start to like, but doing that dance party like leveled up my energy again. So I'm probably gonna do that again. But for now, I'm gonna go to bed. So see you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. I will see you next time. God is good.